I am putting this here to hold myself accountable, to make more of an effort with my dad, because I've realised, guys, I could hazard a guess as to the source of your problems. If you're a guy like me in his 20s, 30s, maybe even older, and you resonate with my story in some way, I bet you don't have a great relationship with your dad. Now, I want to preface this by saying I don't have a bad relationship with my dad, and he's a very good man. He's always been there for me. He's always been willing to help. He takes an interest, even though he doesn't really understand what I do. He asks about it. He's got time for me. He's always offering his help. He lent me money to get started. He supported me in this unusual career path. But we have basically no emotional connection. I would say we're more like friends or even roommates, housemates, than we are father and son. We've never had many father and son chats, or at least not for a long time. And I feel a bit uncomfortable around him. Just making a cup of tea or something, I feel like the spotlight is on me. I feel like he's going to criticise me in some way, and that must carry over from my childhood somewhere. And again, it's not like he abused me or anything, but maybe he was like critical in some way, and I've always felt not good enough, because he's a very practical man, very good with his hands. All the odd jobs around the house. He was a builder for years. He's a mechanic. That's what he does for a living. His mind just works very well in that practical way. But the trade-off of that is he's not very good with emotions. And I don't blame him. Like, I feel guilty sometimes for avoiding him, because sometimes it's easier to just not have the conversation than it is to have one that you've had 1,000 times already, where you're just making pleasantries because you haven't really got a lot in common. But I don't blame him at all, because his dad left when he was 11. He didn't have a dad at all. I think the next time he saw him after age 11 was like age 18. So he had to go through that whole teenage period on his own with no dad. I think he had 3 brothers, but then I know he has 3 brothers, but then I don't think they're particularly close, or they've ever been close in that way. But yeah, I think I might have something called childhood emotional neglect, and one of the hallmark signs of that is procrastination. And I have truly betrayed myself with some of the things that I procrastinated on in my life, and watched opportunities, great opportunities. You really very lucky to have certain opportunities, watch them come and go and slip through my fingers. And it's because I feel like I've never been able to make a decision of my own, and I think it's something called childhood emotional neglect. My dad, in some ways, this is a strong word to use, but I have felt abandoned at times, because we live in the same house, we see each other every day, but he's not really been there for me in an emotional point of view. He's of that generation where they don't really understand mental health. You just stiffen up your upper lip and get on with life. Whatever he's had to deal with, he's still just got up and worked every day. The only time I've seen him actually break down in tears was when my nan, his mum, died about 2.5 years ago, and it was a mess for just a few moments, and we actually hugged each other, and that felt very strange. And that just goes to show you how distant we are, really, emotionally. It felt quite uncomfortable for me to hug him, to be honest. But yeah, I think that is the source of a lot of my problems, is my relationship with my dad, or lack of relationship, because he's my dad, and obviously I want that strong emotional bond. And I guess when it's not there, you do start to think, well, does that mean I'm not good enough in some way for him? But I truly, like, I'm coming to terms with it now, and I believe it's more that he just doesn't know how to do it, because he didn't have it at all with his dad. He's seen me, oh, well, my son is turning over £250,000 a year. This is what he's chosen to do. He obviously knows what he's doing. I'll let him get on with it, but I'll be there to help him with deliveries and stuff that I can actually understand. So I understand it from that point of view. I think I will do things differently with my son. I don't care what he thinks about it. I will weave my way into every single aspect of his life. I'll be there for everything, and I'll make 100% sure that he can talk to me about whatever he wants or needs to. Because, yeah, I don't blame my dad. And I could have done so much worse. I really don't want to sound like a victim here. I really am incredibly lucky to have the parents that I've got. They've been so, almost too, if anything, too nice to us kids. Too mollycoddling to us. So yeah, I'm not for 1 second complaining. I just think that's one of the sources of my problems is childhood emotional neglect, resulting from not having any emotional connection really with my dad. So if you resonate with my story, tell me what's your relationship like with your dad, and if it's very good, then feel free to put a comment confirming that under the video, and completely contradict what I've just been trying to say for the last 8 minutes. But that'd be fine, because you have a good relationship with your dad, so that would still be the preferred option. I'm off to CrossFit. I'm off to CrossFit. Cross tit. I'll see you soon.